Today on NewsWatch, Islamic terrorists have hit airports in Istanbul and Brussels. Here why a top intelligence official says a U.S. airport could be next. Plus, religious liberty denied, what the Supreme Court is now forcing Christian pharmacists to do against their will. And this girl fled her country, her best friend killed by a terrorist bomb. See how Christians are giving her hope for the future. Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. More details are emerging today about the terrorist attack in Istanbul, Turkey, that left at least 42 people dead and 238 others injured. A Turkish official says the suicide attackers were from Russia, Uzbekistan, and Kyrgyzstan. Airports around the world now increasing security, and the top U.S. security official warning it is only a matter of time until a similar attack is attempted here at home. Caitlin Burke is on this story.
Turkish police forces conducting raids today, targeting Islamic State suspects. This as investigators learn more about the coordinated attack at Istanbul's main airport. 3 attackers, all with specific assignments. One went to the terminal, another to arrivals, and the third waited outside. The horror in Turkey prompting increased security at airports here at home, and also raising familiar questions about just how safe they actually are.
If anybody here believes that the U.S. homeland is hermetically sealed and that the Daesh or ISIL would not consider that, I think I would guard against that.
CIA Director John Brennan says that ISIS is determined to kill as many people as possible and to carry out attacks abroad. And he believes they'll continue trying to penetrate American defenses. In an interview with Yahoo News, he credited effective homeland security measures and intelligence for the fact that the terrorist group has so far been unable to attack America directly. The Orlando and San Bernardino shootings being carried out by radicals inspired by the group, but not under its direct control. One major vulnerability that terrorists took advantage of in not only Turkey, but also Belgium, is the fact that most airports don't have security screening for people before they enter the terminals.
What's on the outside of an airport? Glass. And glass with an explosive like that is going to cause a lot more damage from a fragment standpoint. That's going to inflict mass casualties.
Aviation security experts say that one of the main lessons for other airports is to have enough armed police to regularly patrol public spaces and to keep checkpoint lines moving so that crowds don't get big in vulnerable areas outside of the security perimeter. Something major airports here in the U.S. are now pledging to do. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
250 ISIS militants are dead after a U.S.-led coalition of airstrikes in Fallujah. Reuters reports the strikes are among the deadliest ever launched against the terror group. The Iraqi government recently declared victory over the Islamic State in Fallujah, but officials are still concerned ISIS will continue to inspire terrorism on Western soil, like the deadly attacks in Orlando and Istanbul. A Palestinian stabbed a 13-year-old Israeli girl to death in her bedroom early this morning. The terrorist also stabbed a security officer who arrived on the scene to defend the girl. Israeli police shot and killed the assailant. The attack is just one of dozens that Palestinians have carried out over the last few months. Just a few weeks ago, Palestinians launched a terror attack in Tel Aviv, gunning down 4 Israelis. New questions are being raised today about whether Attorney General Loretta Lynch can be impartial when it comes to the criminal investigation of Hillary Clinton. That comes after Lynch met privately with Bill Clinton at the airport in Phoenix. Clinton directed his plane to delay its departure when he found out Lynch's plane was about to land there. The Department of Justice is investigating whether Hillary Clinton broke the law when she used a private email server to send classified information while Secretary of State. Conservatives are concerned Lynch may not pursue charges against Clinton because she's a political ally. Lynch says she and Bill Clinton did not discuss the email scandal. Franklin Graham drew 5,000 Christians to his rally in Olympia, Washington on Wednesday. This is Graham's 31st stop on his 50-state Decision America tour, urging Americans to vote in this year's elections. Graham tweeted, "In Olympia, we saw that gay pride flag flying over the mayor's office. What would happen if it were the Christian flag?" Graham told the crowd he wasn't there to tell them who to vote for, but to choose a candidate that stands for biblical principles. He also urged pastors to speak out on political issues. Graham says churches today care more about political correctness than God's righteousness. The Supreme Court has rejected a religious rights appeal from pharmacists in Washington state. They say their faith prohibits them from dispensing Plan B or other drugs that may cause abortion. More than 35 pharmacy organizations supported the pharmacists' rights, but the Washington state government has told them their licenses will be revoked if they refuse to carry the morning after pill. Now the Supreme Court has rejected their case. They'll have to comply. Justice Samuel Alito is calling it, quote, an ominous sign about the state of religious liberty. Abigail Robertson brings us the background on this case.
With thousands of drugs on the market, pharmacies, like any business, are free to choose what inventory they want to carry. If they don't offer a drug for a business or personal reason, they refer the patient to a place that does.
Referral, for any number of reasons, has been standard of practice.
One of those reasons, religious conviction. But thanks to a new Washington state law, that reason is no longer valid when it comes to not stocking Plan B and Ella abortive drugs.
We're there to sell life-saving drugs and drugs that are healing, but we're not going to sell any drug which is going to end a life or result in an abortion.
This all started in 2005 when Planned Parenthood launched a national campaign aimed at forcing pharmacies to carry controversial morning after pills. A new law was made in Washington state, and suddenly the Stormans family pharmacy found themselves caught in the crosshairs of Planned Parenthood's political agenda.
The executive director of Planned Parenthood in Washington met privately one-on-one with the governor, enlisted her help, and from there they sought to execute on that campaign and forced the Board of Pharmacy to adopt a rule that targeted people of faith.
Pro-abortion activists sent test shoppers into the pharmacy to ask for Plan B. They then filed complaints against the Stormans pharmacy because they didn't have it. Protests and boycotts took place in front of the store, even though it was still legal for pharmacies across the country to refer patients for any reason elsewhere. In 2007, after intense pressure from activists and a questionable shakeup of the Pharmacy Commission, a law was put in place prohibiting Plan B referrals for religious reasons.
The governor in the state of Washington not only threatened the board with terminating them and replacing them if they didn't adopt her rule, she actually did replace some of them. It was a highly charged political affair that from start to finish existed to stamp out religious objections to Plan B.
We were very concerned when Planned Parenthood and the governor started this initiative to essentially remove a part of practice that had been in place for hundreds of years.
The Stormans faced a tough decision: sell Plan B, close up shop, or sue.
The government shouldn't be in a position where they're allowed to make a law which forces us to choose between our family business and our faith.
The Stormans won a federal lawsuit over this issue, but after the state appealed, a circuit court reversed the decision.
It will be the first time in America's history that we have forced healthcare providers to participate in the taking of human life. That is groundbreaking. In
Washington state, you can still refer for any other reason. Just that reason has been exempted. That's the targeting that we went through.
Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Justice Samuel Alito wrote a stinging 15-page dissent objecting to the Supreme Court's decision not to hear the case. He wrote, "If this is a sign of how religious liberty claims will be treated in the years ahead, those who value religious freedom have cause for great concern." The United States is facing an epidemic of heroin use, according to the latest word from the World Drug Report, from the United Nations. Reuters reports the UN says heroin use is at its highest level in the U.S. in 20 years. With about 1 million heroin users in the country in 2014, that is nearly 3 times as many as in 2003. And deaths from heroin have gone up 5-fold since 2000. Miss Teen USA is making a major change to its program by getting rid of the swimsuit competition. The Miss Universe organization announced that portion of the pageant will be replaced with an athletic wear competition. The president of Miss Universe organization says this decision reflects an important cultural shift. We're all celebrating that empowers women who lead active, purposeful lives and encourage those in their communities to do the same. The 2016 Miss Teen USA pageant will be held in Las Vegas on July 30th. Coming up, her best friend was killed by a bomb. Hear how this young Syrian refugee escaped the terror of ISIS and see how she's rebuilding her life in a new land. Reem is a 13-year-old girl whose best friend was killed by a bomb in Syria. She and her mother escaped to Lebanon, where they struggled to get by. Then Reem received an invitation that not only changed her life, it also gave her a promising future. Dan Rainey has her touching story.
Walking through the small apartment building she now calls home, Reem is reminded of her former life in Syria and how the war changed everything in an instant.
The bombs fell without warning. One killed my best friend who was playing in a nearby field. Then a bomb hit our house and we ran. I was so scared.
The family found a car and made their way through the checkpoints into southern Lebanon, claiming to be workers. When I met Reem's mother, she explained that they've lived in poverty in a shared apartment ever since.
We often have to depend on others for help with food and rent. But one of the hardest things is seeing Reem not getting a good education. I would see her standing on the balcony, sadly watching other kids come home from school. She said she thought how nice it would feel to go to school. That made me cry. For a little while, I went to a public school that let in refugee children, but the teachers were mean and beat me and other Syrian refugees for no reason, so I stopped going.
Then Reem was invited to come to the Heart for Lebanon Hope Center, which is supported by CBN. Here, she and hundreds of other refugees study English, Arabic, and math, and learn about the love of Jesus Christ.
I love this school so much because the teachers treat us well and really care about us. My favorite thing is learning about Jesus and how he died on the cross to save people from their sins.
All of the kids here come from Muslim families. Their parents know that this is an openly Christian school and that this is the best chance that they have at getting a good education.
I have no problem at all with Reem going to a Christian school. On the contrary, she has developed a sense of love and forgiveness there. As a mother, I am supposed to teach my child these things, but she was learning the opposite because of the war in Syria. Now, she comes to me and tells me about good manners and a positive attitude.
The Hope Center also shows Superbook in Arabic to help the children better understand the Bible.
I really enjoy Superbook because I can see the stories of Jesus. I like that Jesus is teaching us not to lie or hurt others, but to respect life and forgive those that do bad to us. My favorite part is getting up and praying to Jesus after the Superbook episode.
Reem and her mother also get food from Heart for Lebanon and CBN.
Seeing Reem come home excited about school and ready for a good meal really makes me happy. She has a chance for a good future, which is very rare for girls in our culture. I just want to thank all the people who are helping support us. God bless you. I want to thank the Christians and everyone who is helping us with all my heart. I pray that people would stop doing evil things to one another. I know some of them don't want us to follow Jesus, but Jesus means the world to me.
And you can learn more about what CBN is doing around the world by logging on to cbn.com/international. Up next, we hear from Eric Bolling from the Fox hit show The Five. Eric shares his call to wake up America. Americans have always taken pride in our nation, but lately many people fear our country has lost its greatness and is sinking into what our next guest calls a politically correct nanny state. Take a look.
The virtues and values that made America a great nation seem a little old-fashioned to many people these days. Qualities like thrift, grit, individualism, national pride, and faith in God, are these just dusty relics of the past? Eric Bolling doesn't think so. The outspoken co-host of Fox News Channel's The Five says we need more of those old-fashioned virtues if America is to remain a beacon of hope, inspiration, and opportunity to the world. Bolling talks about those essential qualities in a new book, Wake Up America, The 9 Virtues That Made Our Nation Great and Why We Need Them More Than Ever.
And CBN's Pat Robertson spoke with Eric Bolling on the 700 Club about his new book. Bolling was quick to give God all the credit for his success.
I've said it 100 times on the 5 that I go to church and I believe in God. And so people will say, well, what do you think you're getting? Do you think God is making you successful? Do you think God is leading this path? And I said, well, I do, and here's why. I came from an absolutely poor inner city, broke background in Chicago. I remember an afternoon in Chicago, we went to a 5 and 10 store, and my mom said, go pick out some shoes. I picked out some Pro-Keds. They were beautiful sneakers. I brought them over to her cart, and she looked at me and this look on her face, and she said, son, we can't afford those. And at that moment, I realized there are people who have and people who have not. We were of the have-nots. Now, how do you think a kid from inner city Chicago goes from a have-nots, can't afford the Pro-Ked sneakers, to sitting in the center seat of one of the most successful cable news shows in the history of cable TV, without a path, a light being lit for me? And I believe it's my God that lit that light.
You have a rather interesting story in this book that you wrote. You were, as a teenager, you were an entrepreneur right out of the box, and you're cutting lawns, and all of a sudden the big boys move in on top of you. You could have thrown up your hands and quit, but you didn't. And grit, I guess, is one of the virtues you want to talk about, but you showed some grit. What did you do?
Well, you picked out the other important one. I start the book with grit and I end with providence. Grit, you get knocked down, you pick yourself back up. It's an American spirit that I think we're being pushed away from. We're telling our kids, don't worry, if you don't get a job, we got you covered. We'll give you a house, we'll give you a phone, we'll pay for your gas. Well, that's not the way the country was founded. The country was founded on, remember the rugged founding fathers that carved America out of the wilderness against disease, famine, animals, snakes. They didn't know what was coming at them. Half of them died the first winter, but they persevered, and that's what grit is all about. So I'm cutting lawns in the summers, and I'm shoveling snow in the winters. I'm doing a great job, $5 a lawn, if it's a big lawns, maybe $7. All of a sudden I see the professional landscapers come in and they start going to the same houses that I've been cutting, and they have these beautiful lawnmowers. They were green. Everyone had a Toro lawn mower. You pushed it, get behind it, you sweat, but you worked hard. But these guys they're banging out a lawn in 15, 20 minutes, and they have those green ones. I went to my dad, I said, what is that? He said, oh, there's a new lawnmower out. It's called a Lawn Boy. So we went to the hardware store, and I scrimmed every dime I had, and I bought myself a Lawn Boy because it had a powertrain on it. And I competed with those guys forever. And I've always done well. I've always looked for a way to make money. That was one of them. That was when I was a little younger.
Well, you did it in the pits. I don't know how you handle commodities, but you had to get in a fight in order to win on that one, too.
Yeah, there was yes. So again, not enough money to be there, but still wanted to be there, borrowed money. Eventually got myself into the trading pit, rough and tumble world of oil trading. It was hectic. Sometimes your shirt sleeve would get ripped off. Sometimes you end up with a black eye. When I first started, I couldn't get noticed. So it's probably 600 or 700 guys, all men, not one female in there because it was so physical. 600 or 700 guys in a big audit, like a rounded pit going into the middle of the floor, and I couldn't get noticed. And in order to make money, you needed to get noticed. You had to see someone, and you had to be involved. Well, I'll never forget, the big guys were all up top. One day it gets real bad, and the pushing gets bad, and I get knocked right down to the ground in the middle of the pit. I'm literally laying on the floor of the pit, and I look up and I see the three big guys, three big traders who were arrogant. They were just mean guys, laughing at me. They're pointing down, laughing at me. And something happened. I snapped, and I got up, and I ran, and I charged them. I took them both out, 2 of the 3, off the edge of the pit. They all fall. We get into this rumbling match, and I'll tell you what happened. I got fined $5,000, which I didn't have. I had to borrow that. I got suspended for 3 days. But when I came back after those 3 days, I had the respect of everyone in that pit, because those guys were doing it to everyone else, and no one had the guts to stand up to them. But I did. So I earned the respect, maybe not the way The good Lord would have had me do it, but I earned the respect nonetheless.
Well, what you're saying basically is America has got to stand up. We're on the mat right now. We need to get up and proclaim the greatness of this land. Wake up. That's what this.
We need to wake up. Yeah, we've been lulled to sleep by the left, Pat. President Obama famously said, "I'm going to fundamentally transform this great country," and I'm trying to think. Why would you transform the biggest powerhouse, the strongest country, the country that everyone goes to if there's a disaster, if there's a catastrophe, a tsunami, an earthquake, a flood? They come to us for help, for food, for money, for military. Why would you want to change that? So 7.5 years he did that. We elected him anyway. He's pulled the country far left. And I wrote the book, my only book, my first book, because of what he did. I dedicated the book to Barack Obama, because if he hadn't been so aggressive and successfully pulling the country left away from the core values I think the country was founded on and needs, I wouldn't have written the book. And I think it's time to grab those values and make them important again.
Such great values. Eric Bolling is one of the hosts of Fox's The Five. Now, once again, the book is called Wake Up America, the 9 virtues that made our nation great and why we need them more than ever. Stay with us. There's more of CBN NewsWatch coming right up. Finally this hour, it is time now for your Thursday Thankful. Here's the prayer of gratitude I would like you to share with me, and I sincerely do hope you'll join me in it. Lord, thanks for clear purpose. I exist to learn your word, love your word, and to live your word. And remember, his word is life beyond measure. Think on this prayer, meditate on his word, and be sure to make this a thankful Thursday. That is going to do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can find more of our exclusive coverage of the issues you care most about at cbnnews.com. Please be sure to take the time and tell us what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that on Facebook at CBN News, on Instagram and Twitter as well. Hope you'll join us again right here next time. It is Thursday. Make it a thankful one.